Praise be to you, Yahuah my Elohim. Praise be to your Son, Yahusha my Messiah. I come at your feet in the name of your Son. Thank you for the knowledge you pour unto me, and thank you for breaking all the shackle that was bound on my face. Yahuah, you are the only true living God. Indeed. Thank you for your Yahusha, whom you truly love. You are Elohim, the Elohim of the Yahudim.
Shalom, family. I'm your brother Pierre Ligi, and you're listening to the Remnant Awakens. I'm glad you're here, whether you're tuning in for the first time or you've been walking this journey with me for a while now. Today, we're gonna dig into something that, honestly, I think a lot of people have just accepted without really asking questions. We're talking about the word Christian, where it came from, who used it, and why Kepha, or Peter, as the world calls him, never actually called himself that. So, let's get into it. Alright, so let's start way back, before Yahusha ever walked the earth. You know, most people think the word Christian started with the followers of Yahusha, but that's not really the case. The title, or something like it, was already floating around in the ancient world. First, it was referring to followers of Serapis, Egyptian-Greek hybrid deity. In Alexandria, Egypt, during the 2nd century BCE, also referring to worshippers of the Greco-Egyptian god Serapis, who were called Christians, or Christians. A Roman emperor, Hadrian, wrote a famous letter mocking them. The worshippers of Serapis are also called Christians. This proves that the term Christian was in use before Yahusha's ministry, applied to idolaters, not covenant people. Second, it was also used to refer to the Mithraic religion followers. Mithras, the sun god worshipped by Roman soldiers, who was called a savior and anointed one. His followers celebrated his birth on December 25th, practiced baptism, sacred meals, and wore symbolic crosses. They were also referred to using anointed or Christ-like language in Roman temples. And third, it was used as Krishna from ancient Eastern religion. Though from a different system entirely, Krishna's name, Krishna, was noted by early Western translators to sound like Christ. In Greco-Roman thought, this added confusion between foreign anointed ones and Yahusha's identity, but it had nothing to do with the Most High or his commandments. It's wild, right? I mean, we just take these words and never ask, wait, who used this first? But if you look at the history, it's clear the word was already out there, and it wasn't a compliment for the people of Yahuah. So, what happened after Yahusha rose from the dead? Did his followers suddenly start calling themselves Christians? Not at all. If you read the book of Acts, you'll see that the people who followed Yahusha were called all kinds of things: disciples, followers of the way, Nazarenes, even set-apart ones. But Christian? That was a label outsiders used. It wasn't something the disciples claimed for themselves. Actually, it was almost like a nickname, and not always a nice one. It's like, when people try to put you in a box because they don't understand what you're about. That's what was happening. The real followers of Yahusha were living by Torah, keeping the commandments, and walking in the Spirit. They weren't trying to fit into the Roman or Greek world. They were set apart, and the world noticed. Now, Let's talk about Kepha. Most folks know him as Peter, but his real name was Shimon bar Yonah. But Yahusha changed his name to Kepha. He was a Galilean Hebrew fisherman, not some Greek philosopher or Roman citizen. He spoke Hebrew and Aramaic, not English, not even Greek. I mean, imagine calling him Peter. That's not even his name. It's like if someone called me by a name from a totally different culture, I'd be like, who you talking to? Kepha was a Torah-keeping, Yahusha-following Hebrew. He never once called himself a Christian. That's just not how he saw himself. He was part of the people of Yahuah, living by the covenant, not by some new Roman label. Now, I know some folks are gonna bring up one Kepha, Peter, chapter 4, verse 16. The English translation says something like, if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed. But hold up. Those translations are based on Greek, not Hebrew. And the Greek word there, Christianos, wasn't even a word the Hebrews used for themselves. It was a label slapped on them by outsiders. If you look at the Hebrew mindset, Kepha would have been talking about suffering as a follower of the Mashiach, as a set-apart one, not as a Christian. The whole context gets lost in translation, literally. It's like, when you try to explain something deep from your culture and someone just gives it a label that misses the whole point. That's what happened here. So, let's pull it all together. Before Yahusha, Christians were idolaters, especially in places like Alexandria and those Mithraic cults. After Yahusha, the term was used by outsiders, not by the disciples themselves. Kepha, Shimon bar Yonah, was a Hebrew, a Torah-keeping follower of Yahusha, and he never used or endorsed the term Christian. The Hebrew mindset was totally different. They called themselves disciples, Nazarenes, sons of Yahuah, set-apart ones, or Yasharel. They knew who they were, and they didn't need a Roman or Greek label to define them. Here's the real truth. Family, the label Christian, is not rooted in covenant. It's a Roman term, created in a Greek-speaking world full of idolatry. It was never the name Yahuah gave to his people. If you want to walk in the truth, you gotta know who you are and whose you are. Don't let the world define you with its labels. Remember, as we talked about in previous episodes, the remnant is called to come out of Babylon, out of these systems and names that don't belong to us. We're set apart for a reason. All right, family? That's it for today. I hope this got you thinking, maybe even challenged you a little bit. I'm Pierre Ligi, your brother from the tribe of Yehuda, and this is the Remnant Awakens. If this message stirred something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video so it reaches more people. Subscribe if you're awakening to truth, and comment below with what stood out to you the most. And if you know someone still sleeping, share this episode with them. Until next time, Shalom. See you all on the next episode.
Praise be to you, Yahuah my Elohim. Praise be to your Son, Yahusha my Messiah. I come at your feet in the name of your Son. Thank you for the knowledge you pour onto me, and thank you for breaking all the shackle that was bound on my face. Yahuah, you are the only true living God. Indeed. Thank you for your Yahusha, whom you truly love. You are Elohim, the Elohim of the Yahudim.